One of the seven wonders of the world and one of the most important tourist attractions in France is the magnificent Eiffel Tower. A symbol of Paris as it is located on the famous Seine River, the Eiffel Tower in Paris attracts millions of tourists annually, and is visited by more than 6 million visitors annually. The Eiffel Tower in Paris is 324 meters high and is considered one of the most important tourist places in Paris. Work on the Eiffel Tower began in 1887 and continued for more than 2 years by French engineer Gustave Eiffel and 50 other assistant engineers. Things to do in the Eiffel Tower. You have to go up to the first floor, which gives you the opportunity to learn about the history of the Eiffel Tower through the paintings on it. And you can also enjoy a wonderful view of the city through the glass that covers the ground, as it makes you feel like you are flying over the city of Paris. The second floor is no less impressive as you can see a better view of the city of Paris through the telescopes installed on the second floor of the Paris Tower, so that you can clearly see the Louvre, the Grand Palais, Notre Dame Cathedral, and others. On the same floor, you can enjoy a fine French lunch or a cup of wonderful French coffee overlooking the city of Paris in one of the restaurants and cafes located on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The third floor of the Eiffel Tower in Paris is the most amazing ever, with a height of 276 meters. You will see a wonderful view of the city of Paris and its most famous landmarks away from the noise. On the same floor of the Eiffel Tower, inside, you can admire a number of interesting objects, such as a small incarnation of the Eiffel Tower, or visit the Gustave Eiffel Room, which has been restored to hold an Eiffel wax statue paying homage to the famous American inventor Thomas Edison. Of course, you cannot leave the Paris Tower without taking some pictures of it and taking some souvenir photos with it to document your visit to this wonderful landmark. Times to visit the Paris Tower. Paris Tower is available to visit daily from 9:30 a.m. to 23:45 p.m. The best hotels near the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Holiday in Paris. Notre Dame is a 4-star hotel located in Paris, 3.5 kilometers from the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Mercure Paris Center Eiffel Tower, one of the best 5-star hotels in Paris, 400 meters from the Eiffel Tower in Paris. There is no doubt that the Champs-Élysées, one of the most famous and most prestigious streets in the French city of Paris, as it is one of the most luxurious tourist commercial streets in the whole world. And some consider the Champs-Élysées Avenue one of the most important places of tourism in France. One of the most important Paris landmarks is the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. In addition to having a large number of world-class brand shops and a number of luxury restaurants and cafes that stretch on both sides of the road, the pier extends for 2 kilometers. The best things to do when visiting the Champs-Élysées in Paris. Tourists and even Parisians love to enjoy walking this old street and enjoying its many sights between the Arc de Triomphe, Place de la Concorde and the lights and trees of the famous Champs-Élysées. Among the most famous stores that carry the most famous and finest international brands. You can shop on the Champs-Élysées in Paris and buy the finest products from clothes to shoes and bags to buying jewelry or even buying foods such as luxury chocolates. As for lunch on the Champs-Élysées, Paris, France, of course, it will be sumptuous. You have to choose from a large number of high-quality French restaurants or sit in a cafe to savor a special French coffee with the famous French dessert. For lovers of history and learning about civilizations, the Champs-Élysées in Paris includes a number of museums that you can visit, such as the Grand Palais Museum, the Palais des Mines, and others. And if you have the opportunity, you can watch a number of events that take place on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The most important of which are the military parade of the French National Day that passes from the Champs-Élysées every year and Christmas lights and others. Finally, you can climb to the top of the Arc de Triomphe at the end of the Champs-Élysées in Paris to enjoy a wonderful panoramic view of the beautiful city of Paris from the top. The best hotels near the Champs-Élysées. Paris. Bon Royal Hotel, one of the best 5-star hotels in Paris near the Champs-Élysées, is located 3.1 kilometers from the Avenue de Champs-Élysées, France. Le 5 Codet, one of the best 5-star hotels in Paris, is located 2.3 kilometers from the Avenue de Champs-Élysées, France. Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe is located in front of the famous Champs-Élysées Avenue in the French city of Paris. And the Arc de Triomphe is one of the most important landmarks of Paris and one of the most important tourist destinations. The construction of the Arc de Triomphe began during the reign of Napoleon in 1806, as he wanted to build a monument to commemorate his victories and conquests. The construction was supervised by Angel Grun. The Arc de Triomphe is about 49 meters high. It is one of the best places to visit in France. Things to do in the Arc de Triomphe, Paris. You have to stand a little at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris and enjoy watching this wonderful building and its wonderful decorations and war statues documenting the victories of the French at this time. You can also visit the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which was built in the aftermath of World War I, and if you visit the Arc de Triomphe at night, you will witness the lighting of candles around the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And do not forget during your visit to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris to enter the small museum located inside the building, through which you can learn more about the history of the museum, how it was built, and a number of information about the Arc de Triomphe. And the great thing is that you can climb to the top of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris to enjoy a wonderful panoramic view of the city of Paris from the top with all its important attractions, especially the Champs-Élysées and the Eiffel Tower. Entry prices: €12. The best hotels near Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Holiday in Paris. Notre Dame is one of the best 4-star hotels in France, located 4.2 kilometers from the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. The Mercure Paris Center Hotel Eiffel Tower, one of the best 5-star hotels in Paris, is 2.1 kilometers from the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Place de la Concorde. Let's go visit the biggest square in Paris, Place de la Concorde. The Place de la Concorde occupies an area of 8.64 hectares. The Place de la Concorde is large in size as it is in a privileged position in the heart of Paris and to the east of the famous Champs-Élysées in Paris. The Place de la Concorde was designed by the French architect Ange-Jacques Gabriel in 1755, and the square includes a number of statues and fountains along with benches and other attractions. The best activities in Place de la Concorde, Paris. Stroll around the Place de la Concorde to see its highlights of splendid fountains adorned with characteristically ornate statues, 2 of which were built during the reign of Louis Philippe. And you can also find separate statues of French or religious figures scattered around the square. One of the most important features of Place de la Concorde is the Egyptian obelisk that dates back to the Pharaonic era, specifically the reign of Ramses II, who was donated to France during the 19th century. You can admire the inscriptions and decorations on the obelisk or take pictures next to it. Since you can see a number of Paris landmarks by being in the Place de la Concorde, such as the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, the Seine River and the Eiffel Tower, it is special to take pictures of you with a number of beautiful sights from the wonderful city of Paris at the same time. And inside the Place de la Concorde in Paris, you can stop for a moment in one of the restaurants and cafes to enjoy breakfast, lunch, or a French drink. Or you can buy souvenirs from one of the shops on the square as a souvenir. Your visit to this place. The best hotels near Place de la Concorde in Paris. The Vendôme Opera Hotel, one of France's best 4-star hotels, is located 600 meters from the Place de Louisiana Concorde in Paris. Hotel Concordal, one of the best 3-star hotels in Paris, is located 700 meters from Place de Louisiana Concorde in Paris. Latin Quarter. The Neck of the Woods is one in every of the four most famous and oldest tourist places in Paris. It's located on the locality of the Seine, with an oversized number of historical buildings. It also offers its visitors the pleasure of exploring actuality Parisian life through French restaurants and cafes, and therefore the most famous Christian and international fashion brands. Disneyland Paris. There is no doubt that Disneyland Paris is a theme park. It is the most famous in the world and the most visited in all of Europe. It is one of the most famous tourist places in France. Disneyland Paris was opened in 1992 by the Walt Disney Company. Disneyland has a huge number of activities and places of entertainment, including fun games, places to eat and shopping, and famous Disney characters are always scattered here and there. And Disney characters do huge entertainment shows periodically. This made Disneyland one of the most popular tourist destinations in Paris. Things to do in Disneyland Paris. You can start with family adventures such as entering the Adventure Island, where you use the map to try to pass through the island in search of treasure. You will face many dangers and adventures on your way, like walking in narrow lanes and crossing caves in a fun journey through the rocks with your family or friends. To continue the adventures, enter Alice's Wonder Labyrinth to enjoy an adventure with the famous character Alice, the Cheshire Cat, and the characters and places Alice met during her travels. You can also enjoy a large number of different adventure lands, from driving vintage cars to entering the Pirate Sea, entering Disney-themed places such as Sleeping Beauty's castle, climbing to Thunder Mountain, and many more fun adventures. A fun activity inside Disney Paris is to meet and talk to your beloved Disney character in person, such as Disney princesses, Mickey Mouse, Aladdin, Patos, and more. And of course, you should enjoy riding the most famous fun games in Disney Paris, which number up to 50 different games for adults and children. You can also attend the wonderful shows that are held inside Disneyland and the amazing processions led by the famous old and modern Disney characters to take you on a fantasy journey in the land of Disney Paris and attract your eyes with colors and dazzling performance. And to complete the entertainment, Disneyland has a large number of cinemas and IMAX cinemas that show a large number of new and old Disney films and other fun films. In addition to entertainment, you can relax inside Disney Paris through the golf club, where you can enjoy golf, enjoy your favorite drink, or even a quick sandwich or dessert. And you can also sit down to enjoy the views of the green land stretching around you. And because the fun never ends inside Disney Paris, it has an aquarium, or a huge aquarium with 5,000 species of fish and wonderful sea creatures in different colors, shapes and sizes. Moreover, you can shop inside the Disneyland in Paris, as the city has a large number of the most famous shopping stores in the world that sell a variety of products that you can choose from. Finally, you can sit in one of the famous Disneyland Paris cafes or restaurants, such as Café Mickey, Anita Diner, and the Steakhouse, to enjoy a fine French lunch or famous French drinks amid the different Disney World decor. And before you leave the wonderful world of Disneyland Paris, you can buy memorabilia associated with Disneyland characters through the souvenir shops located near the gates. Times to visit Disneyland Paris. Disney Paris is available to visit every day of the week from 10 a.m. to 2000 hours p.m. The best hotels near Disneyland in Paris. Ilage Primia Apartments, one of the best 5-star hotels in Paris, is located 1.7 kilometers from Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Hotel, one of the best 5-star hotels in France, Paris, is located just 100 meters from Disneyland Paris. The city of Paris is the most beautiful tourist destination in France. It contains a large number of museums of all sizes and different disciplines. The list continues to every branch of life, industry, and commerce. The museums in Paris are more than 100, some of them are private and some are public and large, but they all offer what pleases and fascinates visitors. So it is one of the most important tourist attractions in Paris. The most famous museums in Paris: Louvre Museum, Picasso Museum, Branly Museum, Paris, Rodin Museum. Some other Paris museums that are recommended to visit: Perfume Museum, Police Museum, Museum of History of Medicine and Surgery. There are many other museums in Paris that the time is short to mention, including the Tea Museum, the Postal Museum, the Museum of Love, the Museum of Printing, and so on, until it includes almost every specialty and field of life and industry, where the number of museums in Paris exceeds 100 museums. The most beautiful gardens of Paris. The French gardens, especially the Paris Gardens, are among the foremost beautiful tourist places in Paris, and that they mean lots of rest and recreation. Additionally to containing a number of them on important monuments et al. On wonderful lakes. The Parisian gardens are the third gardens in Europe in terms of styles and age after Italy and Switzerland. The most important gardens of Paris: Luxembourg Gardens, Bologna Forest Botanical Garden in Paris, Tuileries Garden. The most beautiful palaces in Paris. France embraces the foremost magnificent and most beautiful palaces in Europe, and Paris owns an oversized share of those palaces. Because it contains many lavish palaces that became famous and have become famous in various parts of the globe due to their beauty and splendor of French architecture everywhere the globe, throughout the ages, so it's considered one in every of the foremost important elements of tourism in Paris. Versailles Palace, the Grand Palace in Paris, Palais Garni or Paris Opera, Élysée Palace. The most famous churches in Paris. The churches of Paris are considered one of the most important symbols of tourism in Paris, as they are distinguished by the beauty of their architecture and antiquity. Learn about the most famous of these churches in this article. Paris, the capital of France and the largest tourist city in France, embraces a mixture of ethnicities, cultures, and religions. And perhaps its buildings and suburbs tell us tales of centuries of history, culture, and art. Paris is considered the European capital of French culture, and is nicknamed the City of Light. The churches of Paris are among the most important symbols of tourism in Paris, as they are distinguished by the beauty of their architecture and their antiquity. What are the most famous churches in Paris? Notre Dame Church, Sacred Heart Church, Sainte-Chapelle Church.